What's going on, everybody? I'm GemMint, and this is part 2 of my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles read-through. Very early on in the Mirage comic series, Eastman and Laird went and got some outside help, which makes for a very disjointed read-through, to say the least. I mean, this run is all over the place. You've got the main Turtle storyline, then you got Tales of the TMNT. Even within the main volume, you have what feels like one-shots and non-canon issues and separate arcs that feel totally different from the main storyline. But there are some very high highs in this compendium, so we're going to go through each issue just like I did with the volume 1. Let's go ahead and jump into it, but make sure if you guys are enjoying these videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notifications so you don't miss a video. All right, let's take a look at the dust jacket first. So just like with volume 1, it's this matte black and green look. Could have did something better. Mine's got a ding, and it really shows up on these thin dust jackets. Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, plus you have Ryan Brown, Jim Lawson, Mark Martin, Eric Talbot, Mark Bode, Michael Dooney, Richard Corbin, and more. Here goes the spine. And then here we have the back. So collecting issues 15 through 23. It skips 24, 25, 26. Then you have 27 through 29. Skips 30. Then you get 31 through 37. So those issues that are left out, I don't know the writer's name. The way that the licensing worked with Mirage was kind of like Image, so they didn't have the rights to publish it. Then it has Tales of the TMNT issues 6 and 7. The Return to New York is the 3-issue arc. That's the best material in this book, so we'll get to it. And these things retail $150. The thing that makes it bearable is that, you know, most of us buy these online when they're in stock. So like organic price books, they already have them discounted. We have a discount code with them as well, so you can save $2 by using GemMint at checkout. And anyone that's overseas should check out comicsbugle.com. They also have these books discounted. They have no taxes, import fees, and free shipping if you're within the EU, and you can save $5 on your first order by using code GemMint at checkout. And then they have a reward system, and you can keep stacking up points to eventually get some free books. Inside of the dust jacket, again, it's just very thin. Got an image of Donnie right here, a biography on Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. And then on the actual hardcover, you got Leo. The spine is the same, nothing on the back. And let's open it up. So you got the white interiors. I think that's Leo looking in through the binoculars. We'll have to see when we get there. You have these green cover pages and the table of contents. It gives you the issue number, the month and year it was published, and the creative team. Here we have issue 15, and this one is by Peter Laird, inks by Lawson, letters by Steve Levine. Kind of a wacky cover, superhero cover. It starts off in a comic book store. We even get a Daredevil reference up here. Casey bumps into this weird little guy, as he describes it, and we get some aliens that bust through the windows at the LCS. And check out the comics on the wall. You got the Watchmen, Cerebus, G.I. Joe. So the Turtles are undercover, even though they have green skin, with Casey in the comic book shop. 25-cent bins. Yeah, so you have these little aliens, and that weird little guy transforms into this kind of superhero character. And the incident activates this retired Justice League sort of a team up here. So what is it, the Justice Force? This is pretty cool paneling, right? So they all get the page. You got a stretchy guy, you got all these guys with different powers, and they got to combat this villain with these little robots. All the little robot guys find out where the Turtles are hiding, and then you got a dope fight scene. Leo stabbing all 3 of them, Casey Jones swinging at him with a bat, Raph jumping out. It's violence time. This was a fun issue though, comic book themed, and then you had the Turtles with Casey Jones. Look at this guy in a robot, Domebot. So this one just ends with the Turtles reading a Justice Force comic book, thinking, is everything going to work out? So that's everything for that issue. Then we jump into Tales of the TMNT issue number 6 with this dope wraparound cover. You got the red bandana Turtles. So is this the Leatherhead one? Yeah, this was a great story. So this one's by Jim Lawson, Ryan Brown, Steve Levine. It starts off just like those other Tales stories, kind of like a little narration, and then opens up here to this hunter hunting down the elephants. Yeah, it's kind of like a Craven the Hunter kind of thing, wants to hunt the biggest game, and they get word of a large alligator spotted in New York. And then you got the Turtles fighting the Foot Clan in the streets of New York City. Pretty iconic. All right, so while in the sewers looking for this alligator, the hunter runs into the Turtles. So we have a little shootout here. The hunter on one area and the Turtles on the other one. This scene right here with them swimming reminded me of the original Nintendo game. And that's where all the trauma started. I'm just playing. So yeah, this was an action-packed issue too, man. Kind of dope little fight scenes with the foot and with this hunter, and then Leatherhead comes out. And I feel like he was much different in this issue than any other iteration that we've seen him. I think we've always seen him as this like stupid villain. He breaks down everything that happened to him and how he became this kind of humanoid alligator. He's a lot more sensible in his first appearance in the comics here. Takes down Kraven the Hunter, and that's pretty much the end of that one. All right, so then we're on to the main story with issue 16. This hardcover compendium's got some very high highs and it's got some low lows. I didn't really like all of the time travel story. So this issue is pretty interesting the way that it was written. It's a time travel story with this young girl, and it ends the same way it starts, so that it makes the entire issue like a loop. I may be saying something blasphemous right now, but I didn't like this angle for the Turtles. I liked the more grounded story. This one is more comic strippy, if you know what I mean. So she ends up talking the Turtles to go back in time. Basically, she tricks the Turtles into changing something in the past, and it kind of plays through a few issues as well. Not back to back, but just throughout. She sends them back in time in a different issue, but this is the start of this character and this whole time travel story, so whatever. All right, so issue 17 by Eric Talbot and Kevin Eastman is called Distractions. This was a crazy story because the tone was so different than anything we had read so far, and you have like Michelangelo out here in the forest and he's fighting these people. It's like, is this even canon with what's going on in the Turtles? And it ends up not being. You'll kind of see at the end here, but the whole time I'm reading this, I'm thinking, is this supposed to be part of the story, or is it like a one-off, or what is it? Ends up fighting this like dinosaur creature, and it's pretty dark and like brutal compared to some of the other issues. Like, we just come off a very cartoonish looking issue, and then it gets into like a manga, feudal Japan, sword fighting type of issue. Well, Mikey's got his chucks. It's kind of like a Last Ronin foreshadowing, but it ends and it's Michelangelo with the Batman shirt, Eastman and Talbot, Easter egg in the back here, writing a story. So I was like, oh, okay, when I got to the end of it. Then we have the next issue, issue 18, another wraparound cover. The thing is, with the amount of creators on here, it's just all over the place. So this is going to be Eastman with Mark Bode. Yeah, so this one felt like another one-off, and it wasn't just Mikey writing a comic book. This one felt like a Usagi Yojimbo kind of story. Like, the Turtles just are in this town. They happen to stumble upon some wrongdoing, and there's people that are in need, and here's a character that plays a bigger part later in the issue. That's this guy's grandson. Yeah, but people, whatever they're not allowing them to do. So the Turtles step in and help these people. I don't know if this is supposed to be canon or not. It was a fun issue. The son ends up helping to fight and saving their town. All right, so here we go. Book 19. It's book 1. It's Eastman and Laird with Steve Levine. So back to New York. Here we go. In the sewer, Turtles are getting fed up. They're hiding out at Casey Jones' house. So the Turtles are arguing, ready to go back to New York. Raph wants to go out alone, and him and Leo fight. But the art and like every panel in these next three issues were like, I can see why the movie borrowed from this. It feels cinematic. So here we go, the foot in the sewers. Raph out there by himself, but his brothers aren't too far behind him. So great fight scenes. So Raph defeats the foot on his way back to their old hideout. Something coming out of the water. This huge thing growing. You can see how large it is as Raph's looking up. And then by that time, the rest of the Turtles catch up to Raph, and we can see the creature that arisen, and it's none other than one of the Triceratons. I was wondering, what happened to them? I don't remember them being teleported with the Utrom in the TCRI building, but yeah, he's one that's left behind. That's going to end the first issue. Book 2, which is issue 20. Look at this double-page spread of this alien Triceratops. So he's messed up. He's not fully functional. They talk about actually how the atmosphere and the air, it's slowly killing him, and he's basically got one fight left in him, and he's made friends with Raph, and they're going to go ahead and take out the Foot Clan's headquarters, the underground headquarters that they have in the sewers. So he's still strong as hell, this Triceraton. Look at the artwork here too, man. This hardcover compendium, this was the highlight of it for me. These 3 issues. Look at this. Another double page. Turtles busting in with their new buddy. Yeah, and this is where it kind of gets weird. So as the Turtles are leaving, they get ambushed by yet some more foot soldiers. As you can see, they're continuing to fight. The Triceraton, he gets attacked. And then the Turtles see these 3 augmented versions of the Shredder. The next issue, issue 21, book 3, Eastman and Laird. Weird lore that gets added to the Shredder and the Foot Clan here in this issue. Here's Shredder telling him how all these creatures were created. They're actually made up of worms. So he takes his shirt off, another double page. Man, that's beautiful. Yeah, these were great issues. This was definitely the highlight of the book. So Shredder's dead again, this time for real. And then let's get into some wackiness. All right, so we've got more MegaCon announcements from JPG and Paraz Entertainment. To celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Do You Poo, he's releasing some of his holy grail Do You Poo covers, the Obey Poo, the first hip-hop covers, and the first 8-bit covers. These are going to be limited to 1 out of 1 metals and 10 out of 10 foils. They're going to be teaming up with Do You Poo creator Marat Michaels for some of the most sought-after Do You Poo covers to ever be released. This is going to be going down on the That Spider-Man Booth Whatnot channel during MegaCon, so make sure you not only follow that account, but bookmark their MegaCon shows. Tales of the TMNT issue 7. This is the last one from Tales. They're in prehistoric times. So you have the turtles with April going through a museum. The bones come to life. It ends up being Savanti Romero, who we'll remember from the first hardcover compendium, the guy that was sending in the thieves to steal the artifacts. This character makes a return as well. Back in times, I was reading this, I was like, okay, that's where the video games got it from, the Turtles in Time. Like, they were doing wacky stuff like that back here in the original comics. This is like the difference between like the canon and non-canon stuff to me. These feel just kind of like one-offs, and they connect sometimes, but the main story would be like with what just ended in the Return to New York storyline. Okay, now we're back on the main title with issue 22. Turtles are in the apartment, and then they get interrupted by this missile coming through a television. This all ties into this time travel thing with this little girl and these aliens, and it's just a crazy story. Yeah, then you had this weird one too. It gets a little bit weird. So issue 23, you have Splinter versus this superhero, and this was a chore to read. I was like, what? This was a low point of these issues for me. But it was funny. The Fanny Whacker is kind of like a Punisher homage. Yeah, these are hard to even remember because there were so many one-offs, but it was this superhero creature, and it gets into it with Splinter, and then they team up or what have you. But it's kind of super weird and cartoony. It's almost like Spy vs. Spy, introducing the pizza lore with the Turtles. So this next issue is after they skip a few issues from that other writer, and it's bringing back Complete Carnage and Radical from the last hardcover. This is a Mike Dooney story with the art. But the other story with these characters was a lot less detailed, so it's interesting to see like a different take on them. Give a little bit more depth to the Radical character and how she's not really a superhero. It's the whole dreamscape and everything. So they just kind of take that into a different direction. Complete Carnage looks a lot scarier. Kind of like a Lion King vibe here. Mufasa. All right, but that's that. And then we're on to issue 28. Another crazy issue. But I really like this intro, this kind of somber eagle catching a fish intro. It's getting pulled underground. It's kind of like a Monster from the Black Lagoon type of issue. So this is by Murphy and Lawson. Casey Jones with the Turtles. And look at this on top of the raft, floating down the lake, the Turtles, April, and Casey. It's pretty nice. All right, so they land. They're out here camping around a nice fire, and then that mermaid shows up on shore. I think this might be the issue too where one of the turtles really questions their life. The fact that there are 4 male mutant turtles, there's no female Ninja Turtles anywhere. Like, they're never going to be able to pass on their bloodline. It just really makes him question his own existence. The creatures from the Black Lagoon, they realize that they're just trying to help her, that she washed up hurt, and they take her body back to the ocean. This was a good issue. This was another high point of this hardcover. Ending in that scene with the eagle, finally got its fish. The radiation being a factor in that whole them being created. All right, moving on to book 29. Interesting cover here, Men of the Shadow. Donnie made this robot out of scraps.
A bunch of scraps!
Yeah, this one was super realistic. Like, you have the turtles, like, they're chilling with their bandanas off. Then we get introduced to the bad guys. It's a vampire story. So again, a little bit off the walls. The robot ends up coming through at the end of the day. It's kind of like a Donnie Iron Man suit. Yeah, but this was another crazy issue. It didn't feel canon. Issue 31. This one was actually even more realistic. This one was similar to how that eagle story opens up, but you have a crow, feudal Japan, samurais. We got Splinter captured. So this also feels like a one-off. Kind of more like the Michael Bay Turtles. And you got the crow flying through the scenery. Beautiful, though. This was a good one. Look, they're almost tribal looking. No bandanas on them. More of like a snapping turtle beak. I like these more than like the goofy, slapstick, cartoonish. This was a cool take. This one was more about the art. Turtles in the forest doing ninja shit. Crow calling away into the sunset. All right, next issue. Here we go. So, man, look how they do April in this issue. That's crazy. So she's going to Egypt. She's being asked to report on a story there from a friend of hers. She ends up getting into trouble with like this pharaoh type of character. They really dressed them out for the nightlife. I guess they were at a night party though. April and her friend are being captured here, so of course the turtles got to find her and save her. Yeah, it was Leo with the binoculars that they used in the front of the book. So you got the turtles fighting mummies. The banter and dialogue between them is great though. This was a pretty good issue. Now it makes sense to me why they did like all these Universal Monsters, Turtles, toys and stuff. Like they were kind of messing with all those types of themes in the comics first. Yeah, this one was Bode and Eastman with Eric Talbot. All right, then on to the next issue. Yeah, sometimes they just stop saying on the front what issues they are, right? Like, it's a great cover, though. I like, again, one of them's got the bandana on, one of them doesn't. Donnie is thinner, and then Raph's got like this thick bandana. This one is a story by Jan Strand, art by Richard Corbin, the turtles on the pirate ship. And they even have a real peg leg. They're fighting what looks like Captain Hook here. This kind of time-traveling, transporting Rubik's Cube. This one transports them back to where they're like turtles in the egg. This was a weird issue. It starts transporting all through different eras. Kind of feels like the third movie, At the Dawn of Time, Caveman Turtles, which again, they made figures like that, I'm sure. Then it gets psychedelic. Like it's like taking them back in time to the beginning of creation and then back just shaking this futuristic thing. All right, then on to the next one. This one was a weird one too. Rick Heaton and Tom Weenie. You could already tell by the artwork and the shape of the characters, like the whole different tone on this issue. The turtles breaking up some type of weapons deal or drug bust or something. Toidles. I hate Toidles. Yeah, look at the art here. It's goofy as hell. This guy, so he sees turtles everywhere now. Now he's traumatized from the turtles breaking in on him. Everybody he sees looks like a turtle.
I like turtles.
So this guy escapes, and he's kind of like a Rambo / Punisher. Meanwhile, the turtles are chilling back, working out, chilling in hammocks in the sewer. Splinter's there. Boom. Explosion. This vigilante guy breaks in, messes up the turtles. We got a little fight going on now. They make him look in a mirror. So he sees himself and thinks he's a turtle. He offs himself. Jeez Louise. That was crazy. All right, anyway, back to issue 35. Back to this design. Back to the Crow story. So you see how that kind of bounces around, right? So this is with Rob Caswell and Michael Zoll. Oh yeah, that's right, one of the turtles. So they're over here guarding the body. Dang. Got like what looks like older turtles. Splinter summons the great Anumis. I like it when they give Splinter kind of like magic powers. And they're even kind of like more monster like Master, my brother, so sleepy, cold. Kind of more just like brutes. That one was actually a quick one. All right, now on to issue 36. Okay, this is the same story. Yeah, so now he's on the ground with his arm in a sling. Something happened with him. This is like a crazy, bizarro take on the turtles too, man. All right, so yeah, this one's pretty deep with the Anubis character and the crow. All right, so then that ends that. Then there's a small short story in color in this Turtle Soup book 1. So Donatello the Ring. This is by Rick McCollum, Bill Anderson, and Jim Waring. So Donatello walking down the cliff here. It was nice to see these in color for the first time, it seems, right? And then we got the Rick McCullum and Bill Anderson, issue 37. This is a crazy story. So the turtles are walking on this path. They have a meditation night out here with Splinter, talking about their reptilian aspects and how to embrace that. And they end up going on this spiritual journey. Donatello loses his mind a little bit, and one by one, turtles start getting lost until there's only one left. And this to determine who should be leading the turtles. So this was like a whacked out thriller type of issue. This beast is lurking in the woods. Leo cuts his arm off. Donatello is lost it at this point. But of course it ends up with Leo overcoming and finding the other turtles that were captured. They all kind of make fun of Donatello for buying into this spiritual journey. It actually gets really crazy with reptiles versus mammals, and how the mammals came and became the dominant species on the planet. And then the mammal, the thing that was in the woods, kind of represents Splinter, which is crazy. And it almost makes it like the turtles have to choose their own kind over even their own fathers. There was a lot going on in this issue. It was really good, though. Here are the bonus materials. You have the concepts, sketches, and such for Return to New York cover. And actually, that's it. Yeah, so like I said, all over the place with this compendium. I really dig the main focal storyline, but some of those one-shots and side stories were still pretty good as well. I am definitely looking forward to the last hardcover compendium, and then maybe after that video, I'll do like a big compilation of all three, and then maybe we'll jump into the IDW run. I'm also planning some other read-throughs. I want to do a read-through of the Spawn hardcover deluxe editions, and I'm reading into some of my back omnis right now. I'm actually breaking out one of my oldest, most out-of-print omnis with Hawkman by Jeff Johns, so stay tuned for that. I do appreciate you guys watching this one. Stay minty fresh. Peace.